Hi, if you're new here, welcome. We're Preston
and Krista,
two people who love to travel, eat, and create memorable experiences. As part of our Texas travel series, we explore new places in the Texas Hill Country and the greater Dallas area. If you've been to Texas before, comment Lone Star below, and we'd love to hear your favorite things about the state. Also, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to stay posted on our upcoming videos in the series to see what's next. We kicked off our arrival in Texas Hill Country with a hike up the massively popular and enormous rock formation known as Enchanted Rock. We then drove 18 miles back to Fredericksburg, a quaint little town known for its German heritage, great food, burgeoning wine, beer and distillery scene, and fabulous museums. Famished after our hike, we were able to get a table and have a late lunch at the subterranean bistro at Vaudeville, located in the heart of Main Street. The three-story brick building's exterior has a distinctive old town charm with its Victorian-era columns greeting you. Take a left upon entering to go down the stairs to find the bistro with its tin-press ceilings and quirky design touches. The bistro has a small but eclectic food menu featuring delicious health-conscious twist on American comfort food. We opted for the Power Bowl with grilled chicken and sinfully delicious pistachio tiramisu. Vaudeville also has a superb supper club worth checking out too if reservations can be made and time allows. Across the street, we ambled over to try what we heard is a must-do activity in Fredericksburg, wine tasting. We are wine lovers, so it wouldn't have been a proper vacation without tasting the local wine. We stepped into Grape Creeks' spacious tasting room not knowing anything about Texas wine and came out knowing a lot more about various wines grown around the region.
Which one sounds a little more your style?
All of them!
all of them, but for the last one, let's go with
The Rosé of Malbec. It's considered Texas wine. Again, 75% of your grapes have to come from Texas. We get most of our grapes from Texas. I love this because it's a dry rosé, but it has a big watermelon flavor, like Jolly Rancher, but it's not sweet.
Jolly Rancher's watermelon.
it smells almost like cotton candy.
But it's not sweet. It's kind of weird, but it's not sweet.
It tastes like watermelon. You weren't kidding.
This is the Rosé Malbec. It's like liquid Jolly Rancher wine. We even took a bottle to enjoy later in the evening back at our hotel. We came to Fredericksburg because we heard it was the wine town of Texas, but we didn't even have any expectations of the quality of the wines here. Kay and I were completely blown away. Every single wine is super easy to drink. Flavors were amazing. And if you come here, make sure to go to Grape Creek Vineyard and get this. This is their Cabernet Blanc. This thing is like liquid amazingness. This is one of the oldest vineyards here, started in the 80s, super new on the wine scene. But so far, Texas, off to a great start. So wine lovers out there, come on in, get some wine. I'm feeling it too. We walked off the fuzzies from sampling wine with a stroll down Main Street, admiring the facades of the historic buildings until we came up to Marktplatz or Market Square in the Central Park. In the middle of the park is the highly revered and beloved symbol of the town's German heritage, the Vereins Kirche. While the octagonal-shaped building was closed to visitors by the time we got there, it was still worthwhile reading the plaques describing how the original structure was moved, then rebuilt as a memorial to the pioneers who chose the spot for their first town hall, church, and school upon their settlement. Right at the entry, you can also see a cornerstone that was laid in the original building built in 1847. We then head back down along Main Street to admire the rows of shops, galleries, and eateries lining the road and concluded our evening at the chilled, relaxed location at Tubby's Ice House 1 block away from the Main Street. The agreeable weather allowed us to take full advantage of the open patio as we devoured their diverse samples of delicious tacos. Tubby's is great, they know what they're doing, so if you're in Fredericksburg, come feast on these tacos. Peace! It's day 2.
Let's go!
Not too far from where we stayed at the Fredericksburg Sweden Inn is the charming Woerner Warehouse Cafe we visited to get some morning caffeination. This beautifully decorated warehouse with its high ceilings and white and wood decor provides farm-table meals in the cafe and also has an assortment of freshly baked goodies from the sumptuous cloud cakes to the cookies.
These cookies are humongous. Look how big they are.
Texas size, look at that.
And then look at the chocolate chip.
Oh my god. We left the warehouse intending to pick up coffee, but took away several slices of dessert to save for later. We got a combination drink here called dirty chai, which is chai tea and coffee together in one. So let's try this out. Oh, nice and sweet, foamy, creamy, got a little soy milk in there. Ready for the day, let's do it. On our way to our first museum visit, we were curious about a shop that looked like a feed store from the old days. The Peach Basket is a privately owned health food store and has a variety of fresh and prepared food to enjoy. We also grabbed a couple of goodies for our road trip up to Dallas for later in the day.
We have a long car ride, so we picked up some provisions.
Oh, Krista loves ramen.
For eating not now, but later. Yeah.
We should have a good ride.
Yes, we should. We got a crap ton of stuff.
3-hour drive, so let's eat up.
Hello! We're here at the Pioneer Museum to learn about the history of Fredericksburg and how it started originally as a German settlement.
Across from the Peach Basket is Fredericksburg Pioneer Museum Complex, which immerses visitors in the lives of the past generation of German immigrants as they journeyed to their new home in Texas. The museum features 10 historic structures, such as the blacksmith shop, the schoolhouse, and general store that are all filled with authentic objects and photographs. After watching a brief video describing how and why Fredericksburg attracted German settlers in the mid-1800s, we wandered around the grounds into the several preserved buildings. It helps encourage you to imagine the struggles of the founding generations to survive and create a new life thousands of miles away from their birthplace with scant supplies and equipment. So what have you learned about Fredericksburg so far?
We learned that it was founded in May 8th, 1846 by 120 German pioneers. Originally, it was part of a grander scheme of German noblemen to start a German colony in Texas. However, that plan failed majestically. So what happened is all the thousands of Germans who were stranded on the coast of Texas, 120 of them made the treacherous journey out to central Texas to find a place for them to live. And they settled upon this area, Fredericksburg. At the time, it was just lush vegetation, rolling hills, clear streams, and pure air, and they decided this is the place that they're going to call their new home.
Coming off from learning about the rich German heritage of the town's foundings, we visited another museum that tells the epic story of the Pacific War. The museum's location in Fredericksburg is notable because the town is the birthplace of one of World War II's foremost strategists and Fleet Admiral of the U.S. Navy, Chester Nimitz. It is also perhaps one of the most complete museums in the country dedicated to telling the stories of the Pacific and Asiatic theaters in World War II. The National Museum of the Pacific War is a fantastic place for both casual and serious history buffs to visit the rich exhibits that showcase the war's causes, battles, and aftermaths. The exhibits feature a timeline overview of the historical forces at play that led to the war. In addition to short films, collections of photographs, artifacts, and clothing. After being humbled by the sacrifices of human life, there is the Japanese Garden of Peace, a place of respite from the Military History Museum. The garden is a living memorial to friendship, peace, cooperation, and is a tranquil oasis for solace and reflection. Attached to the courtyard where the Japanese Garden of Peace is the former hotel owned by Fleet Admiral Nimitz's grandfather that has been converted into a gallery inviting visitors to explore the life and career of the Fleet Admiral. Down the street from the main complex is an outdoor combat zone showcasing larger historical pieces like fighter jets and boats, in addition to a large amphitheater that also hosts live reenactment of battles. We only spent about 4 hours visiting the various buildings that make up the 55,000 square foot complex, but could have easily stayed there for many more. Even if one isn't a history aficionado, a half-day visit would be a recommendation to connect with significant stories of those affected by World War II in the Asiatic Pacific Theater. With the bulk of our day dedicated to learning about the history of Fredericksburg and the Pacific War, we bid Main Street farewell as we left to continue our trip north to Dallas. On our drive out of town, we made sure to stop at Wild Seed Farms, the nation's largest working wildflower farm,
to admire the blue bonnet. I think it's a red bonnet. Anyways, I don't know what kind of flowers they are. They're just beautiful flowers.
Wild Seed Farms has 200 acres where they grow a myriad of wildflowers in addition to the Texas state flower, the blue bonnet, that comes into bloom during the spring. If you enjoy beautiful blooming flora, then a visit at Wild Seed Farms is worth the stop. After a fun-filled 2 days in Texas Hill Country spent hiking, eating, drinking, and learning about Fredericksburg, we drove up north to see what adventures await us in the greater Dallas area. After watching this, if you visited Fredericksburg or now planning to, please comment below. Thanks for joining us, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bayonara!